Namaste and welcome to Hindu American Dream podcast. I am Vasundhara Pathak and I'm the president of UAB Hindu Yuva chapter. I'm majoring at neuroscience and minoring at chemistry. Today we have a special guest, Brahmacharini Shuchita Chaitanya ji. Welcome.
Hari Om.
So before we start with anything, first, your title is Brahmacharini. You're addressed as Brahmacharini. So would you want to introduce or explain us what does Brahmacharini means?
Sure. So Brahmacharin is a root term. And when it's a male, it's Brahmachari. And when it's a female, it's Brahmacharini. And it is those who study or live in an ashram. And it's Brahmani Eva Charati, the ones whose focus in life is seeking that truth. So the ones who walk towards that truth as their life goal. And it is also another name for goddess Durgaji. So Brahmacharini is one of her avatars.
Nice. So how do you feel today?
Good. I feel good. Texas heat, but besides that, staying hydrated and feeling good. How about you?
Pretty good as well. Just very hot.
Yeah.
So just very curious about, how was your childhood and, what are some good memories you remember from your childhood?
Yeah. So I was born in Bengaluru, India, in Karnataka, but I was mostly brought up here. And my dad is a Hindu priest, so he worked at a temple. And so most of my childhood is running around the temple and making mischief with my brother. And my mother used to make the prasadam at the temple. So just eating temple food whenever I wanted. And when we lived in Orlando, there was a Chinmaya mission very close to the temple. So I would run whenever there's classes and mission, go sit, make some sounds, and then come back. So basically having fun with my brother and exploring outside, having fun.
So you had so since your childhood, you were kind of in the environment of, in that atmosphere where you were, working towards, the God and in that spiritual pathway, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a child, I was just there to, run around. There was a lot of space in a temple and the food. So I'm not sure I would say that I was on the path sincere student, but I was definitely blessed to be surrounded by Bhagwan, in a temple, in a sattvic atmosphere.
That's nice. So usually how are your typical days, How do your days go by?
As a Brahmacharini?
Yes, as a Brahmacharini.
Yeah. So one thing about being a Brahmacharini or Brahmachari is that it's not like a regular job, right? It's an actual lifestyle. So one day is not like another. Things come up and you have to there's no 9 to 5, right? My phone number everybody has and people call and text at all hours of the day. But in general, the few things that encompass my day, studying, doing my own sadhana, so my own japa, my own sandhya vandana, and all of those things, my own pujas, and then meeting some administrative things that come up. And then bhikshas, meaning I go to people's homes that are part of Chinmaya mission here, and they feed me bhiksha, and they offer me bhiksha. And I spend time doing what I can, answering questions, offering whatever I can for them. And the congregation members come to mission and the temple. So we always have some activities in the temple. This weekend we had our 8th anniversary. So the last 3 days of the weekend were very busy. So yeah, it's just a little bit of everything. And teaching classes. So that's the other part of it. So I get to teach classes to adults and college students. UT Austin, huge population of Hindus. And so I go there once a week during the school year. And then during the summer, Saturdays, we have class at the temple. So teaching, learning, admin, and interacting with others, getting to know others.
Pretty busy and a very good experience to get, I must say.
Yeah, you learn a lot.
Yes, I'm very curious just to know, what incidents or situations drove you towards this direction and probably inspired you to become a brahmacharini and become a guru and, serve the God and just, choose this lifestyle.
Yeah. I first like to say that it wasn't like a choice to be a guru or anything like that. And I can't say one or two particular incidences. For us, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji, who's the founder of Chinmaya Mission, he is our guru. He's our Gurudev. And I had been blessed growing up to have the opportunity to hear satsangs and go to camps with Swaminis, Brahmacharins of Chinmaya Mission. So just by being in their presence, so many questions get answered, and so many thoughts of Bhagwan, where is Bhagwan? Even if you don't have it, they end up having that answered for you. So I think I'm blessed to just be surrounded by such sadhus in my life. And of course, having Puja Gurudev and the scriptures in my life. And then being able to analyze each incident in life, not a particular one, but every experience that comes, whether it's something that happens to me or my friends or my surroundings, whenever we try to make sense of those things, usually when you go fact finding about the world and things that don't make sense, you end up to our shastras. You surrender to Bhagwan and our shastras and say, okay, you tell me what's going on. So I think many blessings came together, and the analysis of this world kind of pushed me to join Sandipani Sadhanalaya and take this study more seriously.
So not like one incident, but like cumulative, like collectively building up one over the other, and then that's how you decided.
Yeah, and blessings of gurus and Bhagwan. Yes.
So how was your high school experience? I think all the teens, when they're in high school, two things that matter the most to them is probably the graduation ceremony and prom. So, how was your high school experience, and how was it growing up in that sort of time frame?
Yeah. I was, I think, a typical high school student. I did the IB program. I grew up in Dallas area. So I did the IB program. I did my Arangetram senior year of high school. So that pretty much took over my life. So studying, my friends, and my dance class. And I wasn't necessarily focused on Brahma Vidya at that time, right? It was just trying to survive high school and getting into college and all of those. So I think it was a typical experience for anyone growing up here. I didn't end up going to prom, but I went to after hours because I liked the games and stuff more. So I ended up going to after hours, and it was fun, but not necessarily, I wouldn't say the highlight of high school for me.
That's funny. So going to college. So I just, was wondering, when you went to college, did you find any group or any sort of friend circle which had, the same sort of opinions like you, or the same wavelength, not just from a Hindu perspective, but just, in other perspectives? Did you find a lot of people around, you who were, just like you or coming from the same background, something like this?
Yeah, there weren't too many Indians at my college. And I went to a really small liberal arts private school, so it wasn't a big school to begin with. And there was definitely a lot of people that had strong opinions. And having conversations with them about why they believe what they believe pushed me to question why I believe what I believe. Till then, I didn't really question much in my religion. I mean, I was kind of, incubated. I had my little cocoon, and we did what we did at home. I had Shraddha, and life was simple. you know in college you start to see, oh, people also live this way. People come from different backgrounds, so it in a way forces you to think more critically of your own lifestyle and belief system. So I think in that way, college helped. And in terms of like-minded people, there was definitely the gamut of Hindu students, organizing themselves but it ended up being a little bit more of the social side, making friends and things like that. But it took time for me to really consider what are these life experiences I'm having, and what do they mean. right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like my high school experience, the initial years of college, it was just I wanted to, join the student orgs, get good grades, have a good group of friends, study abroad, just enjoy college. And then slowly, I think towards the end of college, and I had to pick, okay, what's next? When I started digging deeper into this.
So I see, when I was trying to know about you, this was a question which I had, because your education is on like heavily STEM based. If I would want to say, you were graduated from Austin College with a degree in Spanish and biology, and then you did your master's in public health from University of Texas, and then you also worked in research lab for like quite a long time. So being coming from such a heavily STEM based background, do you not feel like a difference that, oh, I was, so much in like studying, and now I'm more in a pathway where I'm finding out things about life, about God, about myself? Like, do you see any difference in this? Do you miss the the studying aspect, or the all the learnings that you gained when you were in college, or do you like the way how it's going now?
Yeah. I would like to emphasize I'm still a student, right? And if you don't like studying, this will be very hard. Every day you do study. And there's a lot of logic
Mm-hmm.
in our Shastra. When we say Tarka Shastra, right?
Yes.
When you look and try to make sense of the world, in fact, having that curiosity, wanting to do vichara is helpful for this path. And Gurudev would always say that whenever we teach, like have satsangs and all, it's not for everybody else's benefit. In fact, it's our opportunity to reflect on our own thinking, our own experiences. And if someone happens to be in the room and benefits, it's a nice byproduct, right? But primarily it's for our study. So I never stopped being a student, and I don't think I ever will. And it's actually a great privilege to be able and an opportunity to be a student for life, right? So that is continuing. Now, coming to the STEM, like I said, there is this false idea of secular and sacred, right? That they're two
Mm-hmm.
separate things, that one is hard science, one is soft science, all of these things. That is not the case in our Shastras. In our Shastras, we look at everything holistically. For a problem that happens at the physical level, you take medication and all of that, right? Questions that can be answered by the world, you let botany answer questions about plants, right? But when your questions become deeper, like one of my favorite classes with genetics, I didn't get 100 on everything, but I love the subject, right? And it only pushed me to dig further into why certain genes express and certain don't, right? You have certain genes that get activated after a certain condition in life, nature versus nurture. It in fact pushed me to dig deeper into our Shastras. And our Shastras speak about the entire journey of the fetus, right? The growth of the fetus. They talk about all the science you want is there. But then they go the next step and they say, okay, what are vasanas? Why is one child born one way with certain tendencies and the other child from the same set of parents is completely opposite? My brother and I are so different. I would wonder all the time why he was so different than me. And then parents are one way and kids are completely different, right? So even when you're studying STEM, there will be a limit to what this intellect can grasp. And for me in biology, right? For some people, it's physics and chemistry, all of these places. But at the end of the day, you'll get to a point where the intellect cannot comprehend further. And at that point, you need to rely on our Shastras to understand the depth of what you're studying. How deep do the roots go?
Likely, knowledge never goes in waste. So some way, somehow, it will always come in
Yes.
use to you.
Everything has a purpose.
Exactly. You know, uh, it's just human tendency when you share your ideas, your future plans, your life goals with others, whoever you share with, they always come up with an opinion or a perspective, and they keep telling you whether a decision is right or not. So when you probably told your friends, your family, or anyone about, that you would want to go and adapt this lifestyle and become a brahmachari, what opinions or reactions had you got, and how did you take them, and react to them?
Hmm. So one thing is I learned very early on that not everybody's opinion matters. Right? You it's impossible to please everyone. That's one thing. And the opinions that do matter, we need to use our viveka shakti, right? To distinguish whose opinions matter and why. And when it's my mentors, my role models, my gurus, their opinion is the highest, because
Mhm.
when they say something, it is first of all rooted in our shastras, right? They don't say something based off of their own, inkling about the world, their own theories. They are very grounded in our shastras and what the purpose of human birth is. So whether I'm asking them about one small thing in life or something like a life path, I
Mhm.
know where their opinions stem from, which is that wisdom. And they've gone through so much, right? My mentors have gone through so much in life that they can tell me this is right, do it, this is not right, don't do it, because this is what happened. And so in that way, I didn't ask everybody for their opinion. There were my gurus and my mentors, my role models, those who wanted to see me happy in life. And a guru's guidance for us is always from a place of unconditional love. They never have anything else but our own happiness in mind. So that's who I went to for guidance. And they guided me towards this. And my friends who knew me very well, they weren't surprised. I said, okay, this is what makes you happy. This is what you have questions about. You're finding answers. We're happy for you.
Opinions are formed from your experience. So sometimes, your mentors have guided you based on their experiences.
Yeah.
Do you get to meet your friends now? Like, how often do you meet them?
Yeah, I definitely do. We talk on the phone, we catch up, just as I would catch up with anybody else, and how we used to meet up before too. So one of my good friends visited me a couple of months ago. I might visit someone else soon, and we talk on the phone at least once a month. I think with adult life, that's what they can manage also. And they're
Yes.
working for companies and all too. They're not brahmacharis. So yeah, just regular how it was before, and it doesn't feel any different, really.
I will just move a little bit, from different direction, not too much in the deep meaning. But the new generation, or our generation, I would say, is heavily involved on social media and those things. Are you on social media, or when you were, did you, feel any inclination towards it?
So when we go to the Vedanta course and Sandipani, we get rid of all of our social media because we want our
Mhm.
focus only to be in our studies. Again, in that way, that's also a wonderfully insulated environment, right? Less distractions, less. No, you don't need to know what's happening in everybody's life, right? And they don't need to know everything happening in your life. So for 2 years, we were off social media completely. And then once we came back here, I don't have a personal social media account. I don't see the need for that. But as Chinmaya Mission, we have one just so we can share with our congregation when we have celebrations, when we have pujas, when we have any kind of classes. So it's mostly for distribution of information and sharing beautiful pictures of our Bhagwan and things like that. So yeah, I think my role and my relationship with social media is a bit different. Yeah.
So, what differences have you felt in this new lifestyle that you adapted and the one that you had before? As in, what what things you continued from, like, from almost, I would say, from 10 years before to now, and what are the things that you didn't continue doing or you changed?
Yeah. Um, I think that this opportunity to have an exclusive and intense focus on studies in the Shastras is definitely something I didn't have before. You were
Mhm.
still kind of in the grind. You were trying to get that promotion, all of these things that just cloud, and sometimes your friends want to go out and, have dinner at this place, and you just want to stay at home, and just watch something or whatever. So I feel no compulsion to engage in anything I don't need to engage in. And people don't question me about that anymore. They don't push me. They don't say, oh no, come Shuchita ji, we want to go for this. We want to go see a movie, this, that. And I say, I have my puja to do. I have my classes. And they say, okay, Hariom. They leave you alone. So in that way, it's nice that I'm held accountable, right, to this lifestyle, and there's a responsibility that comes with this lifestyle. When you become a brahmacharini, you take these clothes, you're visible, right? I always wear yellow. One time I was at the grocery store, Hari Om, like people see you.
Mhm.
So in that way, you're held accountable to your lifestyle, not just 9 to 5. I do this and then I become a different person afterwards, right? My focus 24/7 is this: my sadhana, my growth, my seva. That's it. So in that way, it's wonderful that I don't have to think about all the extra things in life. So in that way, life has definitely changed. I don't have to compromise my activities and all of those things and have to go meet up with friends for this or that. I have my focus, more focused and disciplined lifestyle.
Clearly tell you enjoy,
Oh,
the
yeah,
way it goes, and that's good, because I think when you enjoy what you're doing, it's not a work, it's something, just your passion.
exactly. Exactly.
So but just out of curiosity, and correct me if I'm wrong, but can you just take out time for yourself and go out and watch movies, or just go out for like a travel, or it's not a part, or it's your own choice not to?
Yeah. We can do what what we would like to do, but it's based off of what our focus is now, honestly, right? So
Mhm.
if I see there's some nice films about Hindu history that have come out recently, and I definitely went to go see that with our college students, uh, and our community members here. And even for when we travel, there has to be a purpose for everything we do in life now.
Mhm.
And you don't live such a flimsy way, right? Yeah, I don't have anything to do, let me just go kill some time. Time is just so precious. So yes, you can see movies and you can travel, but there must be a purpose for it.
and
Is what
how do
is
you
it that
find
you hope to learn?
and how do you find that purpose?
I mean, if it's there, you do it. If there is no purpose, then you exclude yourself from it, right? If I say, oh, okay, somebody wants to go some other movie outside, okay, are we going to use this movie for a camp? What are we hoping to
Mhm.
learn from this? And if there's something to learn, then it's always worth
Mhm.
time, right? But if it's just something, people go see movies to
Yeah.
escape, right? But when you're enjoying life, why do you want to escape? I have enough things to do,
It's true.
So it's nice.
Oh yes, that makes sense. So another just thing is, what aspect of being a brahmacharini and guided people in the dharmic path do you enjoy the most?
I think having access and opportunity for satsang with other swamins and brahmacharins on this path, and even other, grahastas, there's just so much to learn. And you're constantly learning from every person around you. And when it comes to Shastrartha, understanding what our scriptures are saying and the application of Shastra to our lives, right? The application of Vedanta, how to live this way. Because Vedanta should not be just a philosophy for us. Vedanta is a way of
Mhm.
life. And people say, what's so practical about it? If it's not practical, it's not doing its job for us. So I just enjoy having access to so much satsang all the time. There's always some class I can attend. There's always something, going on, and I can ask people, okay, what is this? What are your opinions on this? How do we come to terms with this in society using our scriptures as our backbone? So satsang, I'd say that's something I've cherished since before I was a brahmacharini, and I'm just blessed to get more of it now. And like I said, when we teach, we study for ourselves. So that's studying also.
Nice. Brahmachari, the word itself has a lot of meaning, a very deep meaning. Do you feel any burden on being called that, or how do you, feel about that when every time you hear Brahmacharini Shuchita
Yeah.
Brahmacharini Shuchita. So how do you feel about it?
Honestly, it's not necessarily a burden, because when we say burden, it's like something you don't want that someone kind of puts on your shoulders and you're like nervous about it. But I would say that it's a responsibility again, right? When someone says that, I say, oh yeah, I'm so blessed to have this responsibility and this accountability. And that means that every single thought, word, and action that I do must be done with so much vigilance.
Mhm.
Nothing should just come out of my mouth just because, right? There needs to be a purpose to everything I say. There needs to be a sweetness. In Sanskrit, then there's a subhashita that says that, right? Everything you say should be short. You shouldn't ramble. It should be sweet. It should be the truth. And that's it. So that vigilance in everything I do, that requires a lot of alertness, and that's undeniable. But I
Mhm.
know that when I work on this, it's for my own growth. I'm not doing it for anybody else. So it's not something put on top of me by others. It's
Mhm.
put on. It's my choice, right, to be in this. Of course, with Guru and Bhagwan's grace to have the opportunity. So then it
Mhm.
ends up being how we grow.
Your choice, you feel a little proud about it. There's nothing to feel burden on it
Oh,
then.
no, I'm grateful for the opportunity. We do the Vedanta course, and at the end of the Vedanta course, they ask, is this something you'd like to pursue? And if they ask, we're blessed that they're asking. And not everybody has this opportunity. And so
Mhm.
I definitely cherish it. And I'm doing my best to learn in every which way through this opportunity.
Before you attain this lifestyle, becoming a brahmachari, what were your hobbies?
Oh, music still is a hobby. I enjoy all kinds of music, and I love poetry. So I still
Mm-hmm.
love to read poetry, and definitely like going for nice walks, silent walks, just where you can observe the world around you and you can hear the birds and you can see, early morning. It's just beautiful outside. And then talking with discussions with people, this debate, a very respectful debate of opinions, right? Intellectual
Mm-hmm.
discussions, but on the truth, right? It's not something, not like an armchair discussion, right? But when you actually talk about substantial things in life and how people live life, how I should live life, and then you say, okay, then what about this perspective? What about that perspective? What about this darshana, that darshana? So I enjoy debate. I enjoy even being a fly. If somebody else is debating something about shastras, then I love being there and hearing it.
I can definitely see how it was like a smooth change for you because most of your hobbies resemble to how you are now. So it was
Yeah,
not very difficult in that sense.
wasn't too abrupt. No. Yeah.
But also, when you become a brahmachari, you do leave the materialistic lifestyle. Some material attachments that you have. For example, you know teenage girls like to have those hair color, nails done, and all those things. Were you ever into those things? And if you were, like, did you ever feel like, oh, I should again want this or
Yeah.
go this, when you had recently
Yeah.
transitioned from a lifestyle to a different one? Obviously now I know you love it how you are, so you wouldn't want to, but just when there was a change, something that you keep thinking, and because you're new to a lifestyle, then
Yeah.
did you ever?
I think it's kind of like when you're a kid, right? You really want a particular toy that you want to play with, right? And then
Mhm.
you go to high school and you donate all the toys from elementary school, right? And
Yes.
then and then you have stuff that you get in high school, right? The best, I think this hair straightener was so famous, the chi straightener or something, I can't remember, but everybody had it and you really want that. And then you go to college and you're like, I'm gonna be myself, my hair is fine, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
roast my hair, right? Whatever it is. And so in that way, you kind of just, it grows out of you. You grow out of
Mhm.
it, it grows out of you, whatever it is, like it drops away. So I think I can't think of anything that I really love to do that I don't get to do now.
Mhm.
I mean, it was all kind of on the periphery. I think I had this really nice earring collection, right? And my cousin loves earrings too. So I was like, I just loved collecting them, right? You can only wear one earring at a time, right? Or a pair of earrings at a time. So I gave her those, and then I have my simple stuff. I don't worry about any changing different earrings to match my clothes anymore. I wear yellow all the time. So it's a simpler life, I'd say.
Mhm.
And in that time, you have those interests, have whatever vasanas. But then after a certain point, you're like, I love to eat still. That hasn't changed. I love different cuisines and I love, I love sometimes making food, sometimes other people make really, other people are better cooks than me. So, and most of the time I like eating. But yeah, I think the things that I love, I still get to do.
And I've heard simplicity is the best ornament. So,
Oh, yeah.
simple is always easier.
Yes.
Um, do you think more Hindu America should like take this path? And if yes, then what can be done to show this as a viable lifestyle? And if you think no, then why not?
Yeah. Firstly, I think it's important for Hindus to understand what it means to be Hindu. And that's what Puji
Mm-hmm.
Gurudev based everything off of, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we understand as Hindus, what is my goal in life? What is my ultimate goal? Where am I? Am I living dharmically? And what is happiness? What am I chasing? And what do the Shastras say about it? I think naturally we will understand where we are on our own path. And our Sanatana Dharma is so vast and comprehensive that people of every which tendency can find a sadhana that best supports them. So we have Karma Yoga, we have Ashtanga Yoga, we have Bhakti Yoga. There's so many things. And in all of them, the purpose is to purify the mind. How is the mind purified? When, again, your thoughts, words, and deeds, kayena vacha manasendriyena, we chant that all the time. Everything done is integrated. I have an integrated personality. I have integrity. When I have that integrity, then I don't have so much friction happening in my mind. That friction is impurity, nothing else. Calmness of mind is purity. So in our Shastras, there's space for people of all tendencies to go down a path which is best for them to purify the mind. And when that mind is pure, we live in a dharmic way, achieve whatever goals that we see in the short run, but the long-term goal is there, then we understand what path is good for us. It's not that everybody has to do this and everybody has to do a grihastha, right? Everybody has their pace of growth, their interests, their path, their sadhanas. So I wouldn't push anything on anyone. I would ask everyone to understand as a Hindu who we are. And I'm working on that too. Every day I'm learning more. As a Hindu, this is what I believe in. This is how I speak. This is how I behave, right? So I think once a Hindu understands what being a Hindu is, the root of happiness, understands what happiness is, works on the purification of the mind, then the jiva will automatically be on that path. There's no struggle. You'll be on the path which takes you fastest there.
Any messages you want to give to people?
No, just figure out where happiness is, where true happiness is. And no matter how difficult it is to get to that true happiness, keep on keeping on. That
Keep
is the
striving.
purpose. Yeah, it's the purpose of human life. And we don't get this opportunity many times. It comes very rarely. And as Hindus, our access to our scriptures is a blessing. Our access to gurus is a blessing. And just to
Mhm.
take advantage of all of that, make the most of all of that. And we will never feel any regrets in life.
Thank you very much, Suchita ji, for telling us so many things and engaging in such a good conversation. Definitely was a very learning experience, enlightening experience. Learned so many things, got to know, and I hope so you enjoyed as well.
Yes,
And
Vasundhara, this was fun. This was good.
I hope the people who hear this conversation also find it pretty interesting and hopefully learn something as well. And I guess I would just want to say thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Hariom.
you. Hariom.